Come on. Come on. Ah, no. Oh, hey, everybody. I guess it is that time again, isn't it? Welcome back to Super Festival. Once again, I am your host, Jordan Sparks, the Director of Technology here at the Hand-Eye Society, and I'm here to show you some Super Festival goodness with our amazing talks and events. We've got a great show for you tonight, but before that, be sure that you're getting the full Super Festival experience as much as you can, because you can check out at least some of our 4-part hybrid Super Festival event no matter where you are in the world. First, we have the Super Festival website, which you can access at bit.ly/HES-Superfest. Here you can find out all about this week-long event, the 30-plus games being featured, all the upcoming talks, and more. Definitely go check that out and discover more games. The second part is, of course, the Twitch show that you are watching, which will be every day from 6 to 9 p.m. Toronto time, aside from Sunday, which will be 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Follow us to find out when we go live, and also check out the Super Festival website for more details on the schedule. The third part is the return of our legendary Torontron arcade machines. If you're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can visit several venues in the city throughout the week to play some of the Super Festival featured games on location. Finally, there's the return of our famous Hand-Eye Society Ball, our fancy party for the Toronto game dev community, happening this Saturday, November 30th at 6 p.m. in Toronto. It's sure to be a fun time, but don't wait. Tickets are limited, and as of now, they're almost sold out. If you're in Toronto, be sure to grab a ticket and join us there. This is our 3rd annual Super Festival, and it is once again stacked with amazing talent. However, we wouldn't have been able to do it without all of our amazing sponsors. So thank you to Ontario Creates, the City of Toronto, the Province of Ontario, the Toronto Arts Council, the Ontario Arts Council, and the Canada Council for the Arts, as well as our studio sponsors Clever Endeavor and Stella Maris. Thank you so much for your support. Well, that's it from me. I'll be back later, but for now, let's get our game on and enjoy today's talks and games. Happy Super Festival, everyone!
Believe me, go straight till the morning, no lie, we won't wait. And we're taking everything we wanted, we can do it all straight. We ain't stopping, believe me, go straight till the morning, no lie, we won't wait. And we're taking everything we wanted, we can do it all straight. No sweat, all straight.
Inside every creator lies a guiding star, a unique vision waiting to illuminate the world. At Stella Maris, we're not just a partner, we're your compass. With tailored mentorship, essential tools, and unwavering support, we nurture your brilliance. Discover your path, unleash your creativity, and let your star shine brightly.
Sage's skin breaks out with beads of sweat. They trail down her hairline. Her body tells her to be on high alert. Sage feels like a presence is eyeing her. Yet when she turns to look around, there's not another person in sight.
Oh my fucking god!
A trash can had fallen down.
Oh, calm down, Sage. It's nothing.
As Sage turns to the left, she glances at the prone form of what is actually a person. Before she can get a good look, something blurs past her and latches onto her right hand with a sickening crunch. Naomi injects Sage with the serum. A few seconds pass and nothing happens until...
Fuck! It burns! It burns, Naomi!
Fuck, what? What is happening? Naomi and Sage watch in horror as the creature eats away at what's left of Sage's hand and starts moving up her arm. Sage's flesh wriggles and drops to the floor.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her.
Wait, what?
If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Now hold on a second. Don't you listen to him. What did I ever do to you?
She will do everything in her power to stop you.
Well, yeah. I don't want to die.
She'll charm and she'll lie and she'll promise you the world, and if she has the chance, she will kill you 12 times over.
Is he even listening to me?
Don't forget, the fate of the world rests on your shoulders.
You're not actually going to try and slay me or anything, right? Because I wouldn't if I were you.
If you try, I'll kill you as many times as it takes.
Hello, today I'm going to give a presentation about creating atmospheric game experiences. So I have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to go right into it. So to start, my name is Farfama, and I'm an artist from Canada currently based in Japan. A lot of my games are focused on awe, ritual, nature, and everyday observation. And I really love making experimental games and really pushing the boundaries of what a game is. And I do that a lot through atmosphere. It's something that I enjoy seeing in other games and something that I strive to add to all my games. So, what is atmosphere? Well, it's kind of a big topic. It's kind of subjective. A lot of people defining it in a lot of different ways. So let's see how some people define it first. Well, a lot of discussions about atmosphere are about music, sound, story, and art, but these aren't really specific enough. Usually discussions surrounding atmosphere are kind of vague. Greg Casavin did a great talk on atmosphere at GDC, and they defined it as a tool to heighten and sustain immersion. Greg Casavin, by the way, is one of the designers for Bastion and Hades. And he has 3 properties for it. Tonal cohesion, which is unity in the emotional experience. Eternal consistency, which is the coherence across design elements. And specific details, which is about rewarding exploration and enriching the game world. And Andrea Andeloro, who's a researcher, wrote a paper kind of showing what the difference is between tone, mood, and ambience, which don't fully capture alone what atmosphere is. So tone usually reflects the creator's intended message or feeling in a game, and it's often shaped by narrative and visual choices. In contrast, atmosphere is about the player's own lived experience, shaping how they personally feel within that space. And ambience contributes to atmosphere through the environmental soundscape, setting a vibe, but focusing on the sensory layer alone. Atmosphere, however, encompasses the full interactive emotional and spatial experience of being in a game. So then what is immersion? These are kind of related terms, but they're related, but they are different in some ways. Again, immersion is subjective. How do others define it? Well, it's Emery and Myra wrote a research paper called The Fundamental Components of the Gameplay Experience. And they have 3 properties as well: audiovisual execution, what you see and hear; challenge-based immersion, related to the execution of tasks; and imaginative immersion, which is related to the narrative, worlds, and characters. So I'm mostly interested in the audiovisual execution and the imaginative immersion. And Emily Brown and Paul Cairns, they define it as a degree of involvement within a game. And it's kind of a spectrum going from engagement to engrossment to total immersion, with each category identifying a progressively higher degree of attention. And I want to note that immersion is political. It could be a very privileged state to be in. You know, a lot of people have life obligations, which can make this almost impossible to achieve. And there are a lot of socio and economic barriers that can prevent someone from having full attention and being fully immersed in an experience. I want to give an anecdote from my life. So I live in Tokyo, or I live around Tokyo, and I really, really love walking. It's just an intense sensory experience, and you see so many things, flocks of birds forming patterns across the sky, or a wind catching and tugging fabric caught on a tree branch, or the sound of leaves crunching under your feet. This is what atmosphere is to me. So to me, atmosphere is not just about what's in a space or the quality of graphics and performance. It's about fully feeling a space and connecting with it on an emotional level. The sense of atmosphere comes from how we exist in the world and is shaped by our interactions with things, people, and places around us. How we feel an atmosphere depends on our unique outlook, shaped by past experiences, cultural backgrounds, identities, and even physical memories. I love looking at the clouds. It's kind of difficult to do that living in a big city. But when I see the clouds, it's kind of just captures my attention fully, and it's always so different, and I'm always in awe, and it kind of evokes so many memories. So yeah, atmosphere is personal. And this talk is going to be my personal thoughts based on the types of experiences I enjoy to make and I enjoy playing. My goal is to provide some ideas and to help you think about atmosphere more. And not everything needs to be implemented, and maybe some of these ideas just won't work at all on your games due to various reasons. I think the main point with atmosphere is intention. Creating atmosphere requires you to hone in on many small details. And I'm going to give a lot of specific technical and design examples from a lot of games, including my own. So yeah, when done right, atmosphere alone has the power to spark a player's imagination, transforming a virtual world into something deeply felt and memorable. I've categorized atmosphere into these things, but there might be other categories. I kind of just, I'm learning as I'm going, but I think it's nice to talk about this out loud and get other ideas from people about how to categorize these things. So we'll start with game state. So I'm going to give a lot of examples. I think that's probably the best way to do it, to spark your imagination. So in games, game state refers to the current condition and mechanics that define what's happening for the player, whether it's gameplay, cutscenes, a death sequence, or a pause screen. So these transitions between game states can often be really jarring, disrupting the player's immersion. When transitions between states, like moving from cutscene to gameplay or experiencing an in-game death, are thoughtfully designed and smooth, they can actually preserve the continuity of the experience, keeping players immersed. So I'll give one example. This is Death Stranding. And in this game, you could save by sleeping. I think you see this in a lot of games, especially a lot of farming games or cozy games. But I really love it because it kind of you don't have to navigate a menu if you want a quick save. It's kind of baked into the world. You need to rest. You need to slow down. And in Bioshock, specifically Bioshock Infinite, when you die, Elizabeth will suddenly show up and give you like a syringe and heal you quickly. So there's no real game over screen. You jump right back into the game, but they do it in a kind of smooth way where Elizabeth kind of just pulls you back into the fight quickly. And then Prey, the 2006 version of the game, when you die, you enter this kind of like astral plane or spirit world where you need to defeat these flying manta rays to regain your spirit, which is, I thought it was a cool idea. Maybe it adds a lot of friction, but I think I kind of love that they committed to keeping you in this, this whole spiritual world that they've created. This is from Hard Space. It's not called Shopbreaker, it's Shipbreaker. Misspelling on my part. So yeah, this game is really cool because what it does is when you die, you're basically a clone. So it'll regenerate your whole body and you'll get like a work and safety report that explains how you died, how you could do better. And this is all kind of baked into the story of you being this kind of contractor in this kind of exploitative company. Prince of Persia, 2008 version, another game where you can't really die. Your companion or the person that you're with the whole game, she'll kind of just like grab your hand and throw you back on the ledge so you don't enter any game over state. And God of War, they do something really cool where I think all the God of War games do this, but the main menu just, when you start a new game, it just transitions right into the game. So you start a new game, you choose your difficulty, and boom, you're right in the game. Dragon Age Inquisition did this as well too. It's really fun seeing people's reaction to it as well, because they're kind of like taken aback and suddenly they're just so immersed. They're like, oh my god, we're starting, we're in this, let's go. Mortal Kombat 1 has some of the smoothest, you go from a character select screen to a level select screen to a cutscene.
You will be imprisoned in the void.
Because that worked so well the last time.
And then boom, the fight just starts right away. I think a big reason they could do that is just hardware allowing really, really quick load times. So I think we see a lot more of that now. But this is a Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, PS2 game. Did this as well. This one's interesting because it goes from like a video to a real-time gameplay cutscene to gameplay, which I thought was pretty smooth. And this is my favorite example from Lost Odyssey, just because it's so stylized. I'll just play it. Ooh, yeah, see, that's so smooth. So the UI kind of flows onto the screen. Yeah, I love it. I want to see more of that. Sound shapes a game's atmosphere by immersing players in a world that feels alive beyond their immediate view. So expansive soundscapes suggest distant movement and environmental activity, and minimal, well-placed music can invite reflection. So a careful balance of sound and silence allows players to feel more connected to a world, adding a sense of depth and presence that lingers long after they've left. So I just have a few examples here, But yeah, the Hunt Showdown has an incredible soundscape set in kind of swamps and overgrown environments. If you go on YouTube, there are so many videos of just soundscapes and still shots from a lot of games. I think a lot of people use it as a background noise for sleeping or studying. Dear Esther, there's in the developer commentary, Jessica Curry, the composer, talks about how, you know, music in a lot of media is very loud in your face and you're constantly bombarded by it. There's no time to sort of think and breathe and let the world sink in. You're just constantly having your attention thrown at you in all different directions. So it's nice that Dear Esther really wanted to have music be really sparse and contemplative. And when the music does come, it feels very, very important. Next, we'll talk about interaction. And I think subtle interactions can really enhance the sense of presence and connection within a game world, making the environment feel alive and responsive to the player. And these mechanics often exist outside of the main gameplay loop, inviting players to explore and engage with their surroundings in more nuanced ways. Really cool example that I remember was from Half-Life 2, where you could turn your flashlight on and Alex will react to it. It's cool, you know, it serves no gameplay purpose, but it does make you feel like your actions affect the world around you. Stray, and a lot of games do this, especially a lot of games with incredible environmental art. They kind of let you just sleep or sit somewhere quietly, and the game goes into a kind of screensaver mode. I've seen games like Ubzu, Death Stranding, kind of a lot of games with a quieter atmosphere do that really well. So this is from my game Tori, and this was inspired from the Darkness game, where you could watch a full movie on a TV. So in my game, I have tons of VHS tapes littered around the environment that you could put into a VCR and watch movies, TV shows. This one is not licensed, but in the full game, it's all public domain stuff. And Metal Gear Solid has so many tiny details. One of them I am kind of blown away by, where you could shoot a cup full of glass or a cup full of ice, and the ice will melt over a long period of time. So many games allow you to pet dogs, pet animals, and I think it's a really fun thing to do, and a nice kind of cute interaction that connects you with your character, your animal, your companion. And again, I don't think they serve really any gameplay purpose other than, you know, making you feel connected to the world. Okay, next we're going to talk about player character embodiment, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. And I define it as design choices that remind players that their character has a physical presence within the game world, rather than merely serving as a disembodied camera. This is often done through visual and mechanical cues that emphasize the character's actions and reactions. And this is particularly impactful in first-person games, but I think you could also see it in games from other perspectives. Half-Life 2 and Peter Jackson's King Kong, they really committed to being a game that's fully first person. You know, these weren't design constraints. These are intentional choices to keep you in that perspective. So you could miss really incredible set pieces or moments, but they really wanted you to embody those characters. And even King Kong, the King Kong game doesn't even have a crosshair. And I don't even think it has a HUD. It has a very minimal HUD. We'll see more examples from that game later. This is from the game sometimes I forget how to pronounce it, but it's a game by the Sad 3D, who makes really atmospheric games, kind of set in, I believe it's like Soviet era style game. Anyways, you could smoke, so that's cool. I like that you could just vibe around with your friends and smoke a cigarette while blaring club music is playing. In the Long Dark survival game, you can actually see your breath as you're walking. So this depends on the weather. If it's really cold, you'll see these cold air coming out of your nose and your mouth. This is one of my favorite examples as well. Metroid Prime, when you shoot your weapon in a dark place, you can see your face reflect off your visor. It's very brief and subtle, but it is actually kind of terrifying when you first notice it, because you don't expect to see that detail. And Bioshock, there's water leaking everywhere. You're in this underground or underwater world. So yeah, if you walk through water, your vision will get murky and messy. Halo 2, you could see your legs. I was blown away by that. I don't know if it was the first game to do that, but I remember when I saw that, I was like, wow, I'm not just a camera. I am a Spartan, or I am a man with a giant armor on my body. Anyways, yeah, I thought it was really cool that they did that. This is a funny example, Alone in the Dark. When you start the game, there's actually this like blinking mechanic where you need to blink in order to not kind of get your vision all blurred. Like you manually press a button, you blink, which I've never seen a blinking mechanic in a game, but really neat. Amnesia, you actually have to twist and turn the mouse to open things. So it's kind of mimicking the movements of the real world. So you don't just press a button and the door opens, you actually have to kind of like interact with it in a way that you would in the real world. Echo the Dolphin, if you want to see your map, you have to shoot your sonar, let it bounce off the wall and let it bounce into you, and then you get a view of the world. And this final example, so footsteps and sand and different materials is cool to see in so many games. Animal Crossing takes it to another level where every animal has their own kind of tracks that they put on the sand. Next, we're going to talk about environmental design. So Stalker is probably one of the biggest examples of a game that does atmosphere incredibly well. And there's a nice anecdote from someone online talked about how the atmosphere in Stalker is the humanity you feel when you see your fellow stalkers around a campfire cracking anecdotes and playing their guitars, especially after getting through an extremely nerve-wracking section. You can go back to your campfire with all your fellow stalkers and just hang out and relax among this kind of chaotic world. So there's this sort of like sense of safety that adds to the atmosphere in this dark, depressing world. Fallout series, Skyrim, they have environmental storytelling everywhere, and I love it because it just props place in weird ways, but you could create your own stories just based off of that. Gone Home, Niosne, What Remains of Edith Finch, they have huge libraries full of unique books, and you could actually read some of them. And I think What Remains of Edith Finch has over 200 books, which is pretty incredible. Although some of them are repeating, which kind of takes you out of it a little bit, but maybe that's intentional. Maybe they just clutter. I mean, as a family that clutters so many items, so maybe that works. Fog is a really neat thing to see in games because it's a really easy hack to make a game feel really atmospheric. You know, you obscure the vision, you let the player's mind fill in the gaps. Left is Silent Hill with no fog, and the right is Silent Hill with fog. So kind of big difference in the feeling there. And The Last of Us has a garbage bag that just flies in the air. Like, how cool is that? It's like that movie, America something, I forget, but there's a garbage bag that flies. This is from my game, The Light of Your Yearning. It's a horror game I'm making, and I love adding little subtle environmental things, waving grass, waving curtains, birds flying in the sky. Wow, I have 3 minutes left. I have to power through other topics quickly. Okay, I'm going to speedrun this. There's a game called Yuya's Nightmare. So I was going to talk about technical bugs, but it's fun because Yuya's Nightmare is a game that embraces technical issues as its feature. So instead of technical bugs taking you out of the experience, it brings you into the experience. Let's talk about narrative. So narrative is kind of another core concept of crafting an engaging and memorable experience. So good narrative design goes beyond simply telling a story. It invites players to actively discover and interpret how the world operates, what characters value, and what choices are meaningful. So I prefer games that lean into subtle story. That's why I kind of showed Journey here. I don't really like heavy exposition, in my opinion. I like discovering the world at my own pace and unfolding the experience slowly. And this approach turns exploration into storytelling, where I could piece things together by experiencing the world firsthand. And Dark Souls does this as well, where there's a lot of subtle storytelling that's done through the items that you find throughout the game. So I don't think exposition is necessarily a bad thing. It's just all about tone and voice. You know, when a narrative element supports the game's themes, it creates a powerful atmosphere. I've seen in games like Disco Elysium with its rich worlds, building, and characters. And, you know, narrative design doesn't just stop at dialogue or cutscene. It exists in world building, visual storytelling, and even UI and store text. This is from a game called Sense. It's from the makers of Naissance, which is a mega structure exploration game. This is their store page. It's just a bunch of Morse code, it looks like. So it sets the tone immediately before you even start the game. It's from my game I Promise, and a lot of my games are kind of just poems or kind of cryptic writing on the store page.
Tremble, and an unearthly serenade stutters to life. In place of the sun, a cosmic being, it beacons. And like nobody played this game.
So yeah, I love that they felt like they kind of discovered this, like, this forbidden game on the internet. And I turned the comments off specifically just to not ruin that atmosphere at all. So in games, the HUD is often a continuous reminder that you're playing a game. It constantly emphasizes stats, maps, and status indicators over the world you're exploring. This is comparable to, you know, our reliance on smartphones in the real world, with screens constantly feeding us information. To create an atmospheric game experience, I think the user interface should strive to be naturally integrated into the game world rather than constantly drawing the player's focus away from it. We have to define two terms. So diegetic, these are UIs that exist within the game world. So it exists for the player playing the game, and it exists for the characters in the game. And then in contrast, we have non-diegetic, which is just only exists for you. And this is kind of an extreme example of an MMO with like a million different user interface things thrown at the screen. One classic example is Dead Space, where your health and your status meter are on your character's back. Shadow of the Colossus has your sword, which uses a beam of light to guide you to your next objective. And then Far Cry 2, Firewatch, Miasma, I believe that's what it's called, Miasma. They do something really cool where, you know, you actually hold your map in your hand and you have to navigate it while still engaged in the game world. And I think, it's called Miasmata. Miasmata does really cool, and I've never seen this in any other game, is there's cartography. So you have to triangulate your position to unveil the map slowly. My game Tori, I have books in the game, and I never wanted to have the text show up on the UI. So I actually you can actually flip through pages of all these different public domain books on art, science, biology, different animals. So it's not critical that you need to read what's in there. So I can kind of get away with not really needing to see the details of the books. And Mafia does a really subtle thing where it keeps you engaged in the game world and not looking at the minimap by having these traffic signs that show up and disappear as you're navigating the map. And in LA Noire, you could actually ask your partner to give you directions, and it'll shout like, go left, go right, go forward. And yeah, back to Peter Jackson's King Kong. You could see there's no HUD or anything. So if you run on low on ammo, your character will say how much ammo they have left. Like, I have 1 shot left, I have 1 clip left, 3 shots left. But you could actually toggle that on if you want, if you find it annoying. And it's actually funny because one of the characters in the game like makes fun of you for constantly shouting how much ammo you have. And something I just wanted to note as well about diegetic UIs is, if you want to maybe design it to match your game world, BioShock is this kind of steampunk aesthetic. So a lot of the menus and stuff are like all gear. They have like gears and stuff. So yeah, if you don't have to do a diegetic UI. Your non-diegetic UI could just feel like it's part of the game world just through its design. And one final example I have is cell phones as menus in games like Grand Theft Auto and Animal Crossing, which are 2 completely different games. So yeah, that is my talk. But yeah, I just wanted to conclude by saying that I hope you find these examples useful and actionable. And there are so many more examples in games, and I didn't even talk about VR, which opens up so many different ways to sustain immersion. And also so many ways of breaking immersion, so that'll be something I want to explore in the future as well. So thank you so much. You could wishlist my game on Steam. It's called Tori. It's hopefully coming out next year, and it is going to be one of my biggest games that I've ever made. You can email me at farfama.dev. We could talk about Atmosphere. I'd love to talk about it. And you can follow me on most social media as at Farfama. All right, thank you so much.
In this corner, Punch Facer. And in this corner, Tim.
And it's over! Sorry, folks, but the only rule is kill here at Blood Dome 99! Use this gun! Use more guns! Use whatever this is! Use guns to shoot the infinite ineffable mystery of our own spiral galaxy! Earn more money so you can spend more money on more upgrades, or weapons, or arenas, or pitiful dog. But don't spend too much. You still have to buy your freedom! Into the Blood Dome, choose your weapon, and fight to escape the future of 1999! Available now in early access. The big gun. What's she gonna? Yeah. What's she gonna do? The big gun. What's she gonna? Yeah. What's she gonna do? The big gun. Where's she gonna? Yeah. Where's she gonna go? The big gun. Where's she gonna? Where's she gonna go? Ali's mom is in trouble with a really bad guy. Ricky's gotta have his money and her purse was dry. So Ali's taking grift lessons from a guy named Ted. And she's skipping out of bed camp. Adventure instead. So get ready for adventure and see Ali pull off. The big gun. Give me my money. Yeah. Give me my bag. The big gun. Give me money. Yeah. Give me my bag. Step one, Ali test those skills. Big pocketing is tricky, but she gotta get those bills. If Ted thinks she can handle it, I'll bring her along. He's got a job in Las Vegas. And what could go wrong? So get ready for adventure and see Ali pull off. Talking, sneaking, hustling away to the end. Ali's got what it takes. Faking, disguising, joking, cross the country with Ted till he raises the stakes. Till he raises the stakes. Hop a train, cause you won't go the line. Get the cash to save the video store. Find a payphone, check in on your mom. Get the cash to save the video store. Get the cash to save the video store. Get the cash, save the video store. So get ready for adventure and see Ali pull off. The big gun. Hootin' doo, ah. The big gun.
Inside every creator lies a guiding star, a unique vision waiting to illuminate the world. At Stella Maris, we're not just a partner, we're your compass. With tailored mentorship, essential tools, and unwavering support, we nurture your brilliance. Discover your path, unleash your creativity, and let your star shine brightly.
A new world, a new home, a new family. Adventure beyond the safety of your home and confront what lies in waiting. Defend your flock from the perils of this world, but don't be late. For dinner, forage, fish, and farm to stock your pantry. Improve your home and tend to your flock, but look out for Shub. He takes quick to a love potion. Guide your flock through this world, for you are not alone. You shall... Hush, please, I'm doing something. You shall... What do you want? Oh, you want to say it together? Well, all right. You shall not pause.
Creator lies a guiding star, a unique vision waiting to illuminate the world. At Stella Maris, we're not just a partner, we're your compass. With tailored mentorship, essential tools, and unwavering support, we nurture your brilliance. Discover your path, unleash your creativity, and let your star shine brightly.
Hello and welcome to Translating Traditional Paintings into Video Game Art workshop. This workshop is for you if you're curious about the fusion of traditional art and gaming, focusing on technique that helped me develop unique art style while creating emotional experiences in games. Orangutan Matter is an indie game studio based in Toronto, and with a mission to explore the boundaries of artistic expression in games and to make thought-provocative puzzles. We're a small team of husband and wife. My husband Saif, who is a tech lead, and I am Sura Kamawi, the art director. And also because we're a small team, we just wear so many different hats, so I was the producer as well at some point. We also collaborated with a number of artists and designers to bring our vision to life. I worked with different places. You might recognize some of them. Some of my research work was funded by Canada Council for the Arts. So today in this talk, I'll be referencing Unleaving. I will just show you a trailer of Unleaving. And here's a reel of some of the paintings and drawings that were used in Unleaving. In Unleaving, I produced and led the art direction, and also I was an artist, one of the artists that worked on the game. We produced over 3 years, over 22,000 paintings and drawings. While we were learning a lot about the process of using the traditional medium in a games in relative comparing to movies and other mediums are relatively new, and we're still all learning. And you can say, I read some quotes somewhere that nobody knows anything, we're all learning, and I feel like that really resonated with me deeply. But that's another reason why I feel I'm very passionate about sharing my insights and knowledge with other people who are curious about that process. For me, I feel like traditional art has an emotional depth that resonates with people in a unique way, and we wanted to bring that into interactive medium like gaming. Yeah, traditional art has that feeling of communicating raw emotions, and arts can be used in games as a narrative tool. So instead of using text, perhaps you can just use symbols, colors, and shapes and composition. Rely on that a lot just to tell part of the story instead of using the conventional way of communicating a story in games. So I want to start also with game design. We can talk about traditional medium without addressing the context. We are working with games, so we have to be very aware of the rules. As they say, know the rules, then you can break them. It's very important to know the rules of game design because we are using art as a narrative tool. We need to lean in on the game design element. These are some of the parameters that resonated the most with me as I was making the game art for Unleaving. The goal is to create a world that's cohesive and believable to the player. One where to create a world when each visual element serves the narrative and the gameplay experience. So I would like to think of that as if teaching the player an aesthetic language. This way they can, this way the visuals can guide, inform, and immerse the player. Each art decision, then it's kind of, you're teaching the player a vocabulary. So I will refer to language a lot as an aesthetic language throughout this talk. And one of the most important parameters for me, I've noticed, is intuitive design. It's just like a natural way of guiding the interaction of the player. So, for example, like using a very distinct visual cues, like an element that's very easy to recognize, and they kind of, it's a vocabulary, and they learn that vocabulary as they go along. And these kind of use of cues, visuals, it will guide an interaction through their experience. And also to be consistent throughout the game using the same language, so they can get more and more familiar and comfortable with it as they go along. Another rule or another parameter that I found it very useful is subtractive design. Subtractive design, which is really distilling the visuals down to their essence. So removing any distraction and just keeping it very simple. The example that I'd like to reference is Echo and Journey. They've done it very well, and also it's inspired that philosophy of using simple design and minimal is just guided the decisions in Unleaving as well with the subtractive design. Next, cohesive language, and I touched on with that previously, is by end of the day everything has to work in harmony, in cohesion. Everything works together. Yes, you can make an amazing cues by itself, but it has all to work together, like orchestrated together, and it works nicely. That's very important to think about, like to have like a unified color palette, to have like a texture that's constantly using for the ground, or certain texture can be used for interactive objects, or certain colors, like you can see with this image screenshot, for example. The player with the red hair is attracted to the red handle, so we built that kind of connection, and then we kept it consistent throughout the game in Unleaving. Again, like handle here and then handle over here, so it's like keeping that very consistent and make it more believable world. Also, the reason I turned off the light, just desaturated here, to think of accessibility as you're designing the game, as you're thinking about it from very, very early stage. It will be very difficult to do accessibility later in the game, but it's very much easier to do it very early on. For example, on Unleaving, we brought some level of contrast to the game, so it can just, so the visuals can pop up. You can do accessibility in different ways, but for the game, we tried our best at least just to have some level of contrast, so players with some visual impairment can just recognize the objects that they need to interact with. It's the same scene here. It was colorful, and then it just turned to be, you use a filter just to focus on the contrast. Also, there is a rule of squinting, like if you can just squint your eyes and see the main details, that means like you can pass that test as well. And in Unleaving, for example, we made sure that whenever the background meets the foreground, there is a need for a contrast, high contrast. You can see the line here. It was not done over like some random decision. Everything was done over a lot of thinking. And also we didn't know some of the rules. We just changed them. We matured with it as we're maturing the arts. A lot of the players helped us as well just to improve it. After knowing some of the game design principles and parameters, and I wanted to include something for me, like I found it very important throughout my learning about making traditional paintings for video games, for video game art, which is called unlearning and letting go of the way I used to paint. Like I used to paint differently, but for for Unleaving, I had to paint in a very different way. So I just kind of had to let go of the way I used to do things, just in order to embrace and make something that works and fits the story and the emotions that we want to convey in Unleaving. So unlearning is just like something, I find it, we always talk about learning and gaining and just getting more and more, but sometimes how about like we shed off things that just don't work for us? How about just letting go of things is just, they don't serve us, and just embrace something completely new. It's not about having more, but maybe sometimes about having less, and just approach things from a different perspective. I felt like this mindset was very, very important to me to learn and grow, and just to find my own language, and then I can translate that language into art for the game. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I was talking about aesthetic language. Here I'll reference it again, finding a language as in aesthetic language, a language that the player can understand. But as you're doing this language, then you need to be prepared for a journey, like a creative process journey, which is, it can be like a roller coaster, it can be emotional, but it's absolutely worth it. The journey can go from, sometimes you feel amazing, sometimes you just don't feel that amazing. But this is something that I wrote it down because just to remind myself of what it takes to make something authentic and new. Everyone has different parameters of success, of different parameters of what it means to make a game. Everyone can do it for something different, for a different reason. For me, I know why I did it. I did it just to really, because I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about making a game where every frame is a hand painting, and that's really the commitment and the emotional resonance, and the using the artistic language was the reward for me. So this is a journey, and it went something like that. This is awesome. This is tricky. This is hard. This is terrible. I am terrible. Then this might be okay. This is awesome. It's all trials. Trials. I can't say error because it's a very extreme word, but I can say trial and learning. Okay, so here we're getting into a little bit more practical with using, finding our own language and finding our art style, the art style that we want to use for the game. And I find like inspiration is very an important step. Usually, like it's for us, art is everywhere. Really, like you can go to a gallery and you can just immerse yourself in that experience. And I find like visiting galleries was something like a ritual that I did really. I still do a lot, and I recommend it a lot. It's just that feeling of looking at painting and just immerse yourself in it, especially if you want to bring it to the game art. And if that's not your style, you want to do something else, then I just encourage you, just go look at what you like, what you enjoy. And there's so many known artists that we all know and follow, and their paintings are available in galleries and different places. I really recommend this a lot. Then the next one, for here, like I looked at Emily Carr, for example. Everyone knows Emily Carr, and just looking at the paintings, especially I went to the Art Gallery of Ontario, and you can see just looking at the paintings, somehow it just translated to the game in a way. It just inspired the game trees in a way. This is a screenshot from Unleaving. And the second thing is I'd like to talk about like the real world. Like maybe you're sitting and you can just look out and see through the window. Maybe you just look at your desk, and anything, any shape can if we just pay attention, it might inspire us. It might stir some energy, creative energy. Like if you have a pencil, pencil or crayon or anything, you can maybe sketch just one element or something up from around you from the room, and just see how it feels, because just paying attention to our surrounding, paying attention to and not just paying attention, taking it to the next level where you can just maybe sketch it, draw it, doodle it, paint it, or just try to kind of put it on a paper or something. That, I feel like that's really stirred the creative energy, and you never know how it ends up. It might end up in your game, it might end up in something like that. And just like the game of A Little to the Left, where they used their surrounding really to create the whole game, and that's just an amazing example of that. And I feel like that would really help me a lot, just paying attention to every day. Like while I'm waiting for the subway, Toronto, like there's a subway, then I'm just looking at waiting, and then I look at some wires or something, and then then I just use them later in the game. Here, for example, just looking at nature, and especially fall season, and it's just vibrant with colors. It just inspired the game palette in a way. Here I talked about like visiting galleries and known artists, but I feel like the lesser known artists can have huge impact as well on getting inspired and finding our own art style, our own unique art style. I met an artist in Toronto. He's Patrick Jenkins, and he uses glass. He uses glass and glycerin gouache to make his paintings. Also, there's another artist, his name is Mark. Just looking at his different art style, it just can impact the game as much as any other artist, because they have their own niche, they have their own different techniques and stuff. Because just like, ChatGPT nowadays, like everyone is using AI and ChatGPT, and always, if you always refer to the known artists, the famous artists, then probably everyone's outcome will be the same. But if you just reference and look at other artists, it might be harder to find them. But when you find artists like that, like I spend a lot of time on Pinterest, I spend a lot of time on different places just to really find these artists that it's very difficult to find them through the conventional way. Like they won't come up on the first result when you search for something, but you have to really dig deep. But when you dig deep and you find them, you feel like you find treasure, because everyone has a different style, and sometimes I just connect with them, talk to them, and I find it very nurturing and very like triggering to think and to just explore something completely different. Like this artist here, Maria, she uses like wire, and this artist in Germany, she's using like a charcoal animation, and it's just like wonderful way, especially when we think about making art for the games. I think animation is a very important aspect of it. So now we have a lot of inspiration. We are inspired. We have inspiration for the art style. We have inspiration for the animation. We have inspiration for techniques. And now we start to establish or find our own language, the aesthetic language. So the aesthetic language is, everything starts with capturing a story, capturing a mood, and the essence of a mood or a story is emotions. Paul Cézanne said any art that did not start with emotion is not really artwork. So that's something that I found it to be true when I apply it to my own artwork. Obviously everyone can take it differently, but this is the way it really helped me a lot. This video just to show you a process of creating one of the scenes in On Leaving, which is like always everything started with emotions. Emotion is the birthplace for the art style, for the gameplay. So we start with emotions, and even the puzzle choice, the mechanics that we choose is just really to communicate certain emotions. As you can see here in this video, when capturing emotions, let's say in this case it's a warm scene, but the emotions in the game is a little bit leaning towards melancholy, and if it's very bright orange, then there is no feeling of cohesion in this game, because we talked about how we have to have a world that's believable and that's cohesive as well. So then I ended up settling on using a combination of orange with a little bit of phthalo blue, just to give feeling of this is still unleavened world, we have not left it, as we are capturing the emotions of the game and through the colors. And the colors is one of the most powerful tools that we have as game devs, as artists, to communicate the story, the mood that we want to tell. And here, because we're making a game using traditional medium, it can be painting, can be anything. From my experience working on leaving with painting, then the color palette has to be very cohesive, and always checking, always going back to check and see if everything works together and everything fits together in harmony, and has to be a flow. The flow of color, it really goes hand in hand with the arc of this story that we want to tell. This is a palette from Unleaving, color palette for Unleaving. And it matured a lot, but what this is mostly in essence, it's that. This is one of the scenes at the top, one of the levels actually, how it started from phthalo blue, desaturated blue, to just be a little bit more on the warm side. And the combination has to have some, the color choices really, that really define the rest of the game. Even if I use another color that look completely different, but it has some elements of the blue, it has some element of the orange, it's always there as like underpainting, as like some another something else that goes in the scene, just to show that. And even everything kind of was chosen to be around the hair, the color of the hair of the character, which is red, and everything has to fit with it. So if it's a conflict, if there is a scene of conflict, then the scene will be the opposite, the complementary color of the red, so it will be green in that case. If it's in harmony, then it will be on the orange warm side, just to fit with the hair of their character. And then these kind of being mindful of these choices, thinking about them. I have my color wheel, I don't know what is it now, but literally I have my color wheel with me all the time. It's just a physical one, it just really helps, and I really recommend having a color wheel, because you just don't need to think all the time, you just have your color wheel. And now to exploration. Exploration is really something that comes the next step, natural next step after all of that, to explore so many different things, like, because if we've collected enough inspiration, then we can just move on to the next step with a little bit more confidence, because I have some references. I really encourage having a lot of references, like with Unleaving, for each scene I collected over 1,000 references. It's just because the more variety you have, the more options you will have to explore with, until you find something that resonates deeply with you, and then you feel like this is more like it will become your vocabulary, your aesthetic language. Here in like with Unleaving, I explored with using big brush, small brush. You can see with this photo, there is so many different kind of type of brushes. Sponge, I used sponge, I used leaves, like floating leaves, like the leaves that, we collect from this season of fall. Just use the leaves and just to create different textures, and it's really a lot of fun. It's not something, it's the whole process of creating this is a lot of fun. It's very rewarding, and you feel so alive, and you kind of lose touch with the world around you, because you're just exploring. There's a book called The Flow, and the book talk about the idea of the flow, where you feel like you're in a different, their time just passes by differently when you're not immersed in such an experience. And also with Unleaving, I explored with using later on, because of just was mindful of using of paper. I use for effects, I start using glass, and just because I wanted to use less paper and maybe something else less more sustainable, and I can just reuse it over and over again. So I just used glass, and I just didn't have this idea at the start, but it just came from this natural state of curiosity and openness to exploration, and also just because referencing so many other artists, and they used, stumble upon artists that use glass basically. Another thing, like with the canvas paper, I probably reused it, the same paper, I reused it over and over again because it's acrylic, and the beauty of acrylic color that you can just layer it on top of each other. Here just to say that chaos is beautiful, and just creating these kind of different textures and feelings, and it'll just all translate to something very nice, very kind of almost you can feel it. There is something about creating art in the physical world, and everything created with intention. So if I were to use anything in this for a specific scene in the game, that I'm just doing it with intention. Every pixel, every choice is just to communicate the same message, and that will bring some order. Like I find the more exploration, the more chaos, and it's repeated. This is my quote. The repeated chaos will reveal patterns and order, and that's I deeply believe in that. If you repeat the same chaos, then you will reveal some patterns, some order, and then you find your own style through that. This is how it worked for me. And also some tip: if you want to try something, it's good just to try it on a very small tile, this is a trial. You can have one paper, and then you can just divide it with the tape, and then when you remove it, it looks very ordered, and also again it will reveal some patterns or something. And I really highly recommend working in small areas, and then as you feel like this might work, then you just kind of expand to be bigger. And yeah, as you're finding your own art style, your unique art style, yourself, you develop all of that, then I feel like it's important just to put yourself out there, put your art out there, and just share it. Just share it with your friends, your family, and maybe share it with in an event. Like for me here, I participate in Art Battle Toronto just to test, if the art style is working, how people will feel about it, and I felt like it was a huge confirmation, a validation of the point that I was trying to convey. Everyone, a lot of people just came and say wow, this feels so emotional. And in this scene, in this picture, you can see, because I was making a puzzle platformer, I kept the clear cuts of the puzzle platformer with horizontal, with the vertical lines, and then with the atmospheric skies. Just want to test it, and actually I got the validation that it was working for people. They felt emotional when they were seeing it. There's so many different ways with social media nowadays. We can just share our art and get the feedback right away, and having that feedback is really, I feel like it's very rewarding, and also it's important for learning, just to learn and grow in the right path, and just maybe to let go of things that just don't work out. Yeah, now you've experimented with different tools, and you collected your inspiration, and you've tried so many different techniques, and you found the art style that resonated with you, and it's time to bring all of that to life, to bring the arts to the video game. It has to be on, you can still do a little bit of exploration at this point, but at this point it's more bringing things to life in a production way, production quality. It depends on the game you make. For this example I'm giving is just for a puzzle platformer. It can be different for each genre. In this case, in case of a living, we take, as you can see, there is already the concept over here, and there is the color palette for that scene, and there is some inspiration, and then it's just a matter of bringing the real physical canvas and just do it for the production. And it depends on the scene. Each scene is different. For this scene, it's the character is chasing the cicada in cotton fields, so we bring in all the elements together, like small tiles and the patterns of the sun. This is only capturing some of the work, not everything. And then you can see there's different sizes of background, because some of the backgrounds are depends on the zooming in of the camera. Then we make the size of the painting. And here's some of the puzzle elements as well. That's in pencil art. With unleaving the artist style is not completely painting. We relied more on to create the atmospheric backgrounds and the moody atmosphere with paintings, but with a puzzle element, because it's very precise. It was a combination of that and pencil and graphite. And for the animation and bringing the animation as well to life, I use a technique of painting animation. We call it breathing painting, because in scenes when you're moving forward, we want to give the feedback to the player that you arrived at the right place. Then something happens in the scene. It changes from one painting to another painting. We want to communicate part of the story, big part of the story actually, through the background. So it tells you what's happening. It tells you you're in the right place. It's also just, that's a language that we use to speak to the player in a way. And you can see here, like, that's some of the backgrounds that we use for this scene. It's how it kind of changes from one to another. And this technique is not often used maybe in games, but we felt like it's probably at the start it felt like it's very difficult to do. It's almost impossible. But then with trials and exploration and having that mindset of learning and curiosity, then it just started to work. In this scene, we used glass, did not use the traditional paper. This is only a test. It's only a concept. It was not the actual production quality, but just to show you there is a phase of refinement at this point. And here another example of using painting animation. It's done, there's so many different examples of how we use painting animation, but the decision was to make it consistent throughout the game. Here, this is a check-in point system. Even at the checkpoint system, then we wanted to implement the same art style to build that cohesive world, and to have like kind of the vocabulary of the language that we spoke about. It's the player would know that they arrived at the right place when they see this, and it's a nice marriage between the gameplay and between the art when tying it all together. Now bringing it all together in Unity, like it depends on the engine you work with. We chose Unity for so many different reasons. You can see here, this is an example of really building only one tiny spots. You can see that everything was extracted separately and then put it back together just like Lego pieces in the game, in the Unity engine. You can see there is the small rocks and there is the small tiles and there's effects on the tiles, and you might say like, why I'm even doing all of it? I think everyone is different in terms of what they want to achieve in a game, but for me personally, I pushed the artistic expression in games, and I felt like everything was done in intention. Like these specific rocks, these specific tiles where the background was done just to communicate certain moods, certain feelings, and I feel the end result communicated that. Whenever like I use something not specific, not was done with intention, to the that scene, it just did not work, and it just fell off from that scene. But whenever I explored a lot, and then whenever I did something specifically for that scene just to communicate the right emotions, then it just worked. I changed a lot of things to fit what the player said, what the player liked. At some point we changed the hair color of the protagonist, the antagonist, to make it more emotionally, so the player can feel more emotionally connected to the story. It's something that the player really most of the time decide, but it's also a combination between having a vision and listening to the feedback of the player. Moving on, I want to show another example of becoming a whole and bring it all together. This is something I want to touch on again, on learning, which is something just letting go of the way I used to paint and just embracing new ways of painting. Because when we when we make this fusion of bringing our own art style, our own the way we paint to a video game, to the art of a video game, it might it discourage us from moving forward because of the way we used to paint or we used to do things. But again, I want to emphasize the idea of unlearning to make this work, because there is so much to do, there is so much we can give and to this gaming world by bringing traditional medium to it, and elevating the storytelling, elevating the medium. I know that unfortunately some people still see video games as not a form of a medium of art expression, but I feel like I'm a huge believer that it is, and we all can do more and give more to the medium. But yeah, when you're approaching a video game, just you need to think about everything as you're making something that's very connected and cohesive. And then sometimes we just need to let go of the way we used to do things and just embrace a new way of doing things and be open and explore. And it's the process is really, really rewarding, and the outcome is fantastic. Everyone has a different way of looking at the outcome, but for me it's more about the learning and the growing more than anything else, how it kind of changed you in a way that you never expect, and it's just really have fun with it and just enjoy the learning process. Now I shared some of my insights and experience with you. I just want to end with a quote from Picasso's, and to say that something that I felt like it was really true throughout my my journey making traditional paintings for the video game art. Every child is an artist, and the problem is how we remain artists once we grow up. So that's something I want to leave you with, and I want you to think about, and hopefully it will resonate with you. I hope you find the insights helpful, inspiring, and I'm always happy to connect with you. And please ask questions, drop me a line, and it's a pleasure to be walking you through this workshop. I hope you find it useful and stay curious.
Oh, straight, we ain't stopping, believe me. Go straight till the morning, no lie, we won't wait. And we're taking everything we wanted, we can do it. Oh, straight, we ain't stopping, believe me. Go straight till the morning, no lie, we won't wait. And we're taking everything we wanted, we can do it. Oh, straight, no sweat. Oh, straight.
Inside every creator lies a guiding star, a unique vision waiting to illuminate the world. At Stella Maris, we're not just a partner, we're your compass. With tailored mentorship, essential tools, and unwavering support, we nurture your brilliance. Discover your path, unleash your creativity, and let your star shine brightly.
Let's just go for a mullet. You know, and that looks great, honestly. Good job. You look great. Next. Okay, we got some of these. What the hell does this do? Oh, okay, curls it. Well, that's great. We got one of these guys that just kind of blows it around, I guess. All right. Oh, goodbye. What am I supposed to do with this? Okay, we're gonna have to probably just clean some of this up. Honestly, not sure if we're gonna get that fixed. Probably best to just cut off a bunch of it, I think. Oh god, the hair's getting everywhere. It's all over my shop. Ugh. Okay, well, let's shave you kind of just on one side and, yeah, just everywhere. Okay, get out of here. Really gotta figure out how to turn these off. Ultra clutch hair cement. Okay, here you are. Let's curl left side, colors. Good enough. Next! What's it gonna be this time? You have too much hair. We can...
Wait, you know what I want to do?
What? What do you think it would be about?
If they made our lives a movie, it would be boring.
刺武汉火车票一张。
我要去武汉，我是为了先买你帅的。武汉只让进不让出，现在。武汉
不，进也不能进了，你们俩先往这边。辣呢？辣呢？
Hello, how are you? Hey, it's you. I'm saying hi to you. Can you see me? I'm over here, on the left side of the screen. Oh, you want to interview me? Okay. Well, my daily job is just waiting here. Boring? Maybe a little bit. Oh, what, my dream? To go to Coney Island. I wanted to go to the beach, enjoy my vacation life. I've always wanted to know what swimming feels like. It must be different from getting drenched in the rain, right? But I know I can never get there. I'm just a trash can. I think I might spend my whole life here on 363 Lafayette Street. Huh? Is this a balloon? How did you know that yellow is my favorite color? Thank you. Hey, come back. Wait, I'm not done yet. Wait, come back. Wait a second. I feel something different. I feel like my body's getting lighter. Wait, am I finally going to Coney Island?
And that's the end of today's talks. Hope everyone enjoyed the show, but don't be fooled, Super Festival is still not done. There's still 2 more days to go. Tomorrow I'll be leaving my comfy home and hopefully joining many of you at the Hand-Eye Society Ball in Toronto at 379 Adelaide Street West on the 4th floor. All you party people in the house, wear your fancy clothes and get groovy because it's sure to be a fun time. Not in Toronto and feel like you're missing out? I've got you covered. We'll be streaming around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We plan to stream a live talk during the event. If technical difficulties make it so we can't stream it, we'll be sure to record it and post it later, so stay tuned. This talk will also feature developers from Bethesda, so it's sure to be a very cool and interesting time. In the meantime, between time, don't forget to check out the Super Festival website, follow us here to know when we're going live, and be sure to make plans to see our Torontrons across Toronto if you're in the city. Some of the Torontrons will also be at the ball, so even more reason to check it out if you're local. Super Festival and the Hand-Eye Society Ball wouldn't be possible without our amazing sponsors. So once again, thank you to Ontario Creates, the City of Toronto, the Province of Ontario, the Toronto Arts Council, the Ontario Arts Council, and the Canada Council for the Arts, as well as our studio sponsors Clever Endeavor and Stella Maris. Thank you so much for your support. Just because it's the weekend, don't think Super Festival is anywhere near done. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with more talks and games to get you all excited. We hope you've been enjoying Super Festival so far throughout the week. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.